Alright, let's start with the basics of TOS is structured to ensure that students first build a strong foundation understanding the law of sine and cosines. We dedicate 70% of the test items to remembering and understanding because these levels help students recall key formulas and recognize parts of an oblique triangle. For example, defining and stating the law of sine and cosine takes up 25% of the total test items.
That's right. But understanding goes beyond just recalling information. We categorize test items to check if students can explain the significance of the laws, interpret given oblique triangles, and differentiate between their parts. We ensure that 20% of the test items are dedicated to understanding so students can move from memorization to comprehension.
Now, here's where problem solving comes in. Since solving for unknown sides and triangle is the core skills in oblique triangles, we allocate 50% of the total test items to applying and analyzing. The law of sine and cosine is not just something to remember, it needs to be used to solve problems. That's why we made sure students apply this law on different problem scenarios.
Exactly. But we noticed in our reflection that too much weight was given to basic recall and understanding. That's why we suggested shifting some test items to applying and analyzing. Analyzing is essential because students need to break down problems, determine when to use the law of sines versus the law of cosines, and identify missing information in given oblique triangle.
Yes, here that's right now, and this is where evaluating plays a role. And we also realized that solving in real-world problems was underrepresented, making up only 5% of the test items. But however, in the real-world applications are crucial in, for example, like trigonometry. So in evaluating the test items required, students need to justify their solutions. Moreover, assess different approaches and critique their reasoning. So we propose on something like increasing test items in this area.
And let's not forget the highest level, creating. Right now, our TOS dedicates only 5% of test items to creating. But in our reflection, we recognize what real-life application are essentials. We should design questions that encourage students to develop their own real-world problems. Model scenarios using trigonometric concepts, or even create visual representation of oblique triangles in applied situation. In this way, we shift our TOS from just knowledge recall to true mastery.
So, based on our discussion, what are the key takeaways?
We need a more balanced distribution between remembering, understanding, and a higher order thinking skills.
Applying and analyzing should take a larger portion to enhance problem-solving ability.
And also, we should reduce the excessive weight on defining and stating the law.
So my key takeaways on our discussion for today is we need to focus more on evaluating real-world applications.
And also, we should encourage students to create their own problems and solutions.
Great insight, everyone. Let's revise our TOS and make it more effective for meaningful learning.